Turning on my microphone. Hoping everybody can hear me. So I'm just going to give everybody a few minutes to get in here. I know that sort of the load in is a little bit, takes a little bit of time. So let's see what happens here. Okay, I got lots of buttons to click, and I got people coming in. Got Hope and Amanda and Sarah. And let's see. There we go. Here we are. And Nadia. Hello. So we have a little chat here. If you want to or need to say anything, share anything. Carol is here. All right, everybody's starting to show up. So I think what we're going to do, hi Nadia. I think what we're going to do is we're going to start with a little, actually, you know what? I'm going to draw a card for our talk today. So our talk is Manifestation Magic, and these are, they show up backwards. These are my wisdom cards. I created them about 5 years ago, I guess. So let's see what we need for today. What is our energy for today? What would benefit us and support us the most? Well, intuition just fell out, so we'll leave that one out. And compassion. I've drawn this twice when I asked what we need for today, so I find that really interesting. So intuition, of course, our connection to our own higher senses of knowing and seeing and feeling. And listening to those knowing and hearing and seeing and feelings. And then compassion, I'm picking up that it is just compassion with ourselves, that we need to be gentle with ourselves. We need to be kind to ourselves. We need to love ourselves and accept ourselves for where we're at and who we are and what we're capable of. So, compassion and intuition. All right. So let's take a moment and just get here. Let's do a little bit of grounding. So if you would, go ahead and close your eyes. I'm going to do the same if you're in a place where you can close your eyes. Obviously, if you're driving, you're not going to do that. And have your feet flat on the floor. Just take a breath in and let it out. Allow roots to grow from your feet down into the earth. And from the top of your head, let roots grow out into the source of your own divine wisdom and your own divine knowledge. And envision a beam of light from the base of your tailbone to the top of your head that goes straight through your spine. And with your intention, bring yourself into energetic alignment. And remember to breathe. And take one more breath in, and as you let it out, you can open your eyes and give a little stretch. Little stretch. So I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a spiritual teacher and a clairvoyant, and I've been doing this work for about 20 years. And one of the questions that I get most often is, have you always been clairvoyant? Have you always been like this? And the answer to that is yes, only it has been in different ways that I have tapped into my higher senses and tapped into that aspect of being spirit. So for me, my earliest memories are at 7 when I started to have premonitions of things that would happen. I was fortunate because my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, would always tell me about the visions that she had and how they helped her and supported her throughout her life. She knew when things were going to happen. She was always prepared for different things. So, whether that gave me permission to have that ability or tap into that ability, I'm not sure. I think it probably did. But as a 7-year-old, having premonitions of when people were going to pass away or car accidents that were going to happen, it was a little overwhelming. And the rest of my family really didn't appreciate it. And so the last premonition that I remember having um, in that way, I had a premonition of an accident that was going to happen. And then one day I was riding my 10-speed bike and I came, racing around the corner, and my brother was mowing the lawn on the corner, and he waved me down, and I stopped, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "You're such a freak." And that just, I felt it just ripple through my space, because he was important to me, and this was a slamming judgment. And so it turned out that the vision that I had did happen. My younger brother and my grandparents were in a car accident. Fortunately, everybody was okay. However, at that point, I really started questioning, what is the point? I can't change anything by having these visions. People think I'm weird. My brother thinks I'm a freak. My family, is afraid when I bring these things up. So I ended up shutting it down. And then I went into my teen years, and I think probably in part because I did shut that down, went through like a fairly destructive, self-destructive period, but always had this calling within me that there was something else, there was something more, I was supposed to be doing something more. But it really took me until I was about, in my early 30s to uh, find the path. And I started taking a program that helped me develop my clairvoyance. And as soon as I stepped into the program, it felt like I had returned home. Everything made sense. There was a flow in my life that had been missing. I started on a healing journey to heal myself and connect more deeply. So I just want to reflect on and convey to you that I believe that we all have connections to our higher senses. We have connections to our claircognizance, which is our ability to know, our clairvoyance, which is our ability to see things in an energetic state, our clairsentience, which is our ability to feel. We all have these connections, and I think for many of us at a very young age, we shut them off, and I think that it has a repercussion. So one of the things that I love about the manifestation play space is that it is just that. It's a play space. It's a place where we can begin to connect to something that we have been ignoring, or we have been afraid to tap into, or maybe we're touching upon it, but we don't use it all the time. So when we play with it in the sense of manifestation, of creating and manifesting the things that we want in our life, what happens is that we really start to deepen and open up that connection to our own spirit, and bringing in the things that we really want, and recognizing that it is an ability that we have, that we can actually do it. So I'm excited that you're here, and that is what we're going to be talking about today, is manifestation magic. I have tons of fun manifestation stories. I want to share a couple with you. One of my favorite moments is when I go into the store and I'm at the checkout and it comes to, let's say, $8.36. And I look in my wallet and I have $8, but I don't have 36 cents. And then I hear this whisper that says, check your pocket. I reach into my pocket and there is 36 cents. That happens to me over and over again. So it isn't that, there's change in my pocket and I count out how much I need. It's the exact change. I know once a teacher told me that at some point I would be able to instantaneously manifest things. And she said, like an apple, you'd open your hand and there'd be an apple there. So I've always thought about that. And every once in a while I do, like, I want to manifest an apple. So the other day I did that. I said apple and, no apple in my hand. So I was like, okay, I'll come back to that, another day. But not maybe, 15 minutes later, my mom came in with the hugest bag of apples. And my mom seems to play into my manifestation things quite often. There was another time when I was visiting her in Buffalo and I had flown in, so I didn't have a car. And I was upstairs doing some work and I thought, I could really use some chocolate. And I knew there was no chocolate in the house and I wasn't getting out of the house. So a couple minutes later, I hear the front doorbell ring. Now, we don't answer the front doorbell at my mom's house. If somebody's coming to visit, they come to the side door and we know that it's somebody who's coming to visit us. The front door means it's somebody we don't know, because you all know if you're coming to visit us, you go to the side door. So the front doorbell rings and I don't pay any attention to it because we don't answer the front door. So, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes later, I go downstairs and my mom says to me, the doorbell rang and I answered it. And I thought, wow, that's unusual. And there were two little girls there and they were selling chocolate. So she bought me 2 chocolate bars. So, it is, if we approach it from a play space, we can really, it gives us an opportunity to fine tune our own ability to create and manifest and to be connected to our own divine source in terms of what we bring in and how we bring it in. So it is an innate ability to be able to create and manifest. It is all throughout time and writing that ascended masters have spoken about our ability to create and manifest. Ask and you shall receive, the law of attraction, so that there are many places where it has been noted and encouraged that we step into this ability to create and manifest. But I believe that in order to really open up and develop that place of instantaneous manifestation of, ask and there it is, that it requires that we clear out a lot of things, that it requires that we have clarity of thought and clarity of our emotional experience. Because if I'm asking for money, but what's underneath it is fear, really what I end up creating is more fear. Because the emotional quality, the emotional energy actually trumps the physical thought process. So why, again, going back to this being a play space, it gives you an opportunity to see what you put out and how it shows up. That's the clarity piece. And I mean, I've manifested many funny things. I think Spirit has a very funny sense of humor when we're playing with manifestation. And it's all to the point of creating clarity of thought, clarity of intent. And we don't know that what we're asking for does not have clarity until we step into this as a play space, put the intentions out there, see how they show up, and then go through and refine them so that they can show up in the true intent of what it is that we wanted. Another, I think, this piece of information, when I first really took it in and let it merge with my being, it changed everything for me. And that is that everything that we want to create, everything that we set with an intention to create, has already been created. So just let that sift through for a minute. Everything that we want to create has already been created. So it's already there. So what you're doing is setting out the process to actually bring in that which you have created. So again, going back to clarity and purity, if what we're trying to create is not really in alignment with who we are, if it's not in resonance with who we are, there are checks and balances that come into play that stop us from creating things that we don't really want. So it's important to have that clarity of thought, purity of thought, clarity of emotion, purity of emotion. But we only get there by playing with it and cleaning things up as we move along. I'm trying to, like, I've had many things that I have set out to create, and the way that they show up was not my intention. I think the biggest one, when I first started playing with this, I set out the intention to create freedom. And so that was about a 4-year, 5-year process from when I initially had set out the intention of creating freedom, and the things that happened along the way. I left my husband, which was not a bad thing. That was a very amicable split, and we were completely in agreement about that. But we separated, sold that house. Eventually, I had a wellness business. I closed it. I packed up 2 bags of clothing, my 2 dogs, and my computer, and drove across country to upstate New York. There I rented a farm for about 5 months. At the end of the 5 months, the lease was up. People were coming back from their summer or their winter home, and I needed to find a new place. I could not find a new place. I had to take the 2 dogs up to a friend's house in Northern Ontario, and she watched them while I kind of sorted things out. So I didn't have a house. I didn't have my dogs. My clients sort of dried up. I had no clients. I had no money. I'm living on like people's couches. I'm like, what the heck's going on? And all of a sudden I realized that I had created really, in a sense, ultimate freedom. I had no responsibility. I had nothing that was holding me in any single place. I had, there was nothing that was holding me anywhere. And I just said, no, that's not the freedom I was looking for. So then I had to I always called it turning the freedom boat around. But, it all helped me to clear out a lot of different things and to really focus on what it is that I really wanted in my life. I think it's much easier when you're trying to manifest to, for the most part, to focus on the quality of an experience that you want to create. So rather than saying, I want $1 million. I mean, why do you really want $1 million? You want security, you want stability, you want, the ability to have and do the things that you want to do. That may not be $1 million, right? That's just an arbitrary number that comes to mind when you think about creating and manifesting. So I think that it's on that sort of bigger level, it's much more effective to try to create and manifest from the quality of life experience that you're trying to create, from the things that you want to have in your life. I think you can hear Putty. If you can't, I can, and he's kind of funny. He's doing a little dancey song thing. And then if we're talking about more specific things, let's say that you have a passion and purpose that you're already very much aware of, and you want to take it to the next level. You want to go to the next step, or you have a relationship that you want to deepen or improve upon. Well, with the relationship space, I think there again, we're talking about quality of experience, quality of interaction, quality of communication. But if we're talking about, let's look at like a passion piece, purpose piece, where you're working on something and you want to take it to the next level. I think that it's really important to set out the intention of what it is that you want to create. But then there has to be action pieces. And with anything that we're trying to create, there has to be action pieces. And if you're not familiar with mind maps, I adore mind maps. So let's say that we're talking about, taking the next step in the work that we do. And we want to take it up a notch. We want to be more visible. We want to be more seen. So we might write in the center of a circle, be more visible. And then off of that, you're going to draw lines. And you're just going to write the things that come to mind that might help you or support you in being more visible. So it might be, reach out to 10 people to see if you can speak. It might be to do Facebook Live. It might be to start a newsletter. So you would start to just write the things that come to mind that could potentially help you do that. And what I've found over time is that by combining these two pieces, by actually setting out my intention of what it is that I want to create, and then doing this physical piece of focusing on what I set out to create and how I think I might possibly be able to do it, it gives spirit more direction in terms of helping you bring in the things that you want to bring in. I did this at the beginning of the year. I did it, and then I let it be. I didn't keep going back and looking at it and touching it. I let it be. And at the end of the first quarter, I went back and looked at it, and I was really surprised at how much I had accomplished on those mind maps of what I had actually done. And I hadn't really put a lot of thought into it, like, oh, I'm going to do this now. It was just the threads that came that actually led me to accomplish those things that I had set out for myself. So I thought that was really interesting, and I think it can be really effective. So, so that's mind maps. I like them. I give them the thumbs up. So just to recap, what it is that you want to create, it's already created, and everything that you're doing are the steps in the journey to actually receive or create or bring in whatever it is that you set out as your intention. I think that once we set out our intention, right, so I want to, whether it's experiential or tangential, I don't know if that's a word, actual. So experiential would be, I want to have more joy in my life. And actual would be, I want to create XYZ. So it has a physical manifestation of it. Doesn't matter what it is the intention and the vibration behind it that really allow it to come in. So it's already created. If you don't believe that you can have it, if you don't trust that you can have it, or have certainty that you can have it, or that it can come in, or that it can manifest, then it stays out there. It stays removed from actually coming into your space to create it. So what we're going to do tonight in our experiential space, because I think it's really important anytime we're for me that we're, you're here with me, is that we actually do experiential work. So we're going to play with intention and vibration, this vibration of certainty and trust. And before we do that, I want to step into a space where we just clean up your manifestation space, because every thought that we have is a potential creation and manifestation. And so, we really are that powerful. And thank goodness that we don't just get whatever we want by thinking about it immediately, because we would be creating all sorts of things that we really don't want. So that's another reason why the manifestation space is really a play space, because you move through it and you just fine tune your ability to think and create it, to hopefully to that place where, I think apple, and there literally is an apple that shows up in my hand. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a couple of exercises here. And so if you would, just have your feet flat on the floor and your eyes closed if you're in a space where you can do that. Take a breath in and let it out. So the first thing that I want to do is clean up our dream space, our daydream space, I guess more accurately. So those things that we ponder about, that we dream about, that maybe don't really have any true value or merit in them, things that we really don't want. Maybe they're things that we set out when we were younger, that we really have no intention of manifesting in present time, like a pink house, or tall, dark, and dreamy, or whatever it happened to be. So just take a magnet and just let it collect up anything that you've set out as an intention, something that you wanted to create that is not in alignment with who you are today, that is not in harmony with who you are today, that doesn't resonate with who you are today, and really that isn't, just isn't something that you want or need today. Remember to breathe while you're doing that. And once you have everything collected up, you can just send that magnet off to the edge of the universe and blow it up, where the energy can just recycle back to neutral energy. And let's take a look at certainty, at intention, and vibration. So remember, it's a play space, so I want you to see what you can notice with this. But what I would like you to do is see if you can call up a time and space for yourself where you've wanted to create something for yourself, but you haven't trusted or believed that you could actually do it. So in the setting up of it, you had doubt and uncertainty and lack of trust and lack of faith. And just see if you can notice what your space feels like in that uncertainty and lack of trust and lack of belief. I know for me, it has like it has sort of a shade to it. It's not, the light isn't on it. Feeling wise, it feels kind of constricted, and maybe there's some fear in it. Certainly I can see the uncertainty. So just notice what you notice for yourself. You can take a breath in and let it out. And then go ahead and clear that image off. Send it off to the other edge of the universe and blow it up. And now what I want you to do is think about something that you want to create and manifest for yourself. And either see or pretend to see it out in front of you. So maybe like a movie or a book, just an image. And we're going to go back to that beam of light that we created at the beginning, that went from the base of the tailbone to the top of your head, that brings you into energetic alignment. So go ahead and realign with that beam of light. And I want you to focus on your certainty and your trust and your belief. And see a dial and just turn them up. Keep turning them up to 100% and notice what happens in your own space. So for me, there's more light in the space. That kind of, that voice goes away, that doubting voice, the doubting sensation goes away. I also feel straighter and more aligned. There's a sense of connection in my space that wasn't there. So notice what happens for yourself. And then take a breath in and let it out. And you can open your eyes. If you want to just pop into the chat and share anything that you experienced, go ahead and do that as we're moving forward. So, or if you have any questions, you can also pop them in there. So just to, I think go back and just recap, or to touch back on what we've been talking about. The manifestation space is, I think, one of the best places to play with our connection to our own spirit and our connection to that innate ability that we have to be connected to our higher senses. And if we approach it as a play space, then we can clear and clean and develop an ability to create and manifest the things that we want when we need them. And you'll notice that it is much easier to create and manifest those sort of simple, silly things, a parking space, a red light, a green light, change in your pocket, chocolate bars, right? When there's not a lot of need or energy attached to them, you'll notice that the ability to create and manifest is much more simple. And really, the ability to create and manifest should be and can be that simple, regardless of what it is. So the fact that it isn't, if it isn't for you, is great information about things that are going on in your own space that you can clear and heal and shift and move, transmute, transform, so that you can have that clarity of space and purity of mind and body and emotion, and that deep connection to your higher self. So using it as a play space can just really offer you, oh, sorry, guys. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle said, I love you and everything you do. Thank you. Yeah, so I think that it's just a great place to come from and play with, and playing with it strengthens the ability and gets you to a place where you can really start to bring into your life the things that you really want. And what I really want you to know is that you really can create the life that you want, right? It's if you sit in doubt, you're not going to bring it in. So do you want to sit in doubt, or do you want to just shift that vibration? You have the ability to shift it. We did it tonight. It was very simple, right? It's alignment. It's knowing. It's just, it's, if you think of it as a meter, right? So here's self-doubt. Here is certainty. Crank it up. Crank it up to certainty all the time until that's where you are. I think this piece of just knowing that you've already created it and everything that you're doing is really just the steps to get you to manifesting it and bringing it in. I think being honest with yourself. What is it that you want to create? I keep going back to this $1 million thing because I think that's just it's such an arbitrary, useless number. Right? It comes from nowhere. It's really not attached to anything. It doesn't mean anything. What does it have to do with anything? Right? So the question is, well, if you're saying you want to create money, well, what do you want to create money for? What is it that you're missing? What do you want to create? What do you want to bring into your life? You know, look at the creation and manifestation space from a place of clarity and honesty and certainty of what it is that you want to bring in for yourself. So I have 2 offers for you, but I want to make sure that you see if you have any questions, anything that you want to explore. Anything at all. So the first offer that I have for you is, let me just bring it up here. Display my offer. There it is. So every journey starts with one step. It's an age-old saying, right? We have to take that step. We have to take the step into saying yes, into creating more, into doing more. And I want to help you to take that step. I want you to sign up for this, what will be free for you. It has a value of $175, but it's a 30-minute session that is designed to look at what your struggles are, what your challenges are, and how you can begin to create change in your life. Whether you have already taken several steps and this is another step, or you've been wanting to take a step and you just haven't been able to do it. Maybe you haven't felt supported or confident, or you've been waiting for the right moment or the right time or the right sign. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the right sign, the right moment. So this offer is only for right now while we're here. You're going to click this link that says set your date now. It's going to take you to my calendar, and I've opened up some days that I have available this coming week and the following week. There's not a lot because I've got many things going on. I'm doing a summit at the end of the month and some teaching and clients and all of that. So I've opened up as many times and spots as I can. So I want you to do that. Like I said, it's only right now. That's when you got to do it. There's no like, I'm going to do it later. Schedule the time, pick a time. If you go back and you look at your schedule later today, later tonight, tomorrow morning, and you think, oh no, I can't do that, there'll be a link there for you. Click on it and you can reschedule it to whatever times are still available. So do it now. Just schedule it, get it, put it in place. So that is the first offer. I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. Okay, Hope is asking if you have a few things that you want to manifest, can you work on them all at once or should you concentrate on one at a time? I think you can work on them all at once. I would just set them out as individual things that you want to create and manifest. So I wouldn't lump them all together. I would take the time to sit with them, visualize them, set your intention, set your vibration, set your certainty, check for any little questioning thoughts and things that might be popping up and clear them out, and then set them out and hand them to your own spirit so that you can work to bring them in. So you're going to do them each individually, but you can certainly work on creating and manifesting more than one thing at a time. I do think that it is I think it's great to work on larger projects, things that big things that you want to create and manifest. I think it's also really great to set out your intention for how you want your week to go. What experiences you want to have. Pick one thing that you want to bring in that doesn't really have a lot of weight to it. So being given flowers, being given a free lunch, a surprise. So pick something that is really just a complete open play space, and as well as working on these things that are more content related to the things that you want to create in your life. And then also this idea of how you want your week to go, how you want a conversation to go, a meeting to go, a relationship to unfold, how you want your morning to go, how you want your day to go. If you're driving, you want to get there smoothly, easily. So really use it in a lot of different ways to create and play. But yes, so you can work on more than one thing at a time. So Michelle, you're asking, is this about the conversation with me? The conversation is free. It does have a value of $175, but for everybody who's here today, because I really appreciate you showing up, particularly on a Saturday, and I want to have these conversations with you. I want to explore this with you and help you see how you can get to where you want to be. It's free. So, but you got to do it today. Does that help, Michelle? Was that your question about the conversation? Okay. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, any other questions? Adrian, hi, did you describe the manifestation space? Do you see it as inside us or outside us? In the crown is where I saw it, but curious. Did you describe the manifestation space? In this conversation space, I really didn't. What I said was, when we were playing with it, it was to close your eyes and see it, or pretend that you see it. I suggested a couple of different ways that it could unfold, like a movie. It could be like a book. It could be just like a stationary image of what it is that you want to create. It can also, I think, connect to a feeling, a sensation. So it wasn't like, here's the space and here's what you do. It was, here is a way to create or craft what it is that you're looking to create and manifest. And so no, there was no indication as to whether it was inside or outside. I think whatever came up for you is right in this moment. So in your crown is great, if that works for you. So that was a question for Adrian. Okay, great. Michelle's signing up. Awesome. Going through divorce. That's a big shift. So I'll be happy to have a conversation with you to see where you're at and what's going on. Okay, anybody else? Questions? General hellos? Okay, so if everybody's done, with the conversation piece, I did want to also let you know that, let me just find it here. Okay, so I've changed the date on this though. It was going to start next Tuesday. It's now going to start the following Tuesday. So instead of starting on the, let me just check my calendar, on the 9th, it's going to start on the 16th. So this is one of my most favorite courses to teach. It is 40 Days to Creating More. I love it so much because it is a combination of a lot of different energy tools. We use mantra, we use energy work, we use, we actually set out, we go through a space. Oh, look, my hair looks crazy. We set out a space to, like Adrian was asking if I had defined a space in this conversation, and I hadn't. We actually do define a space that you can create and manifest from. We work on passion and purpose. So what is it that you're passionate about? What is it that you want to bring into your life? We fine tune that. I think we're going to do a little bit of mind mapping because I really like it so much, as I mentioned earlier in our conversation. So it is a class. We have 6 actual topic classes where we do energy work and we clear things and we move things and we shift things. We do some mindset work. And then the program runs completely over 40 days because the mantras are done daily for 40 days. So once you learn them, then you start the process of saying them over 40 days. And the mantras that we work with are, one clears blocks and the other one attracts abundance and opens up that space. So in creating more, it's really about opening up your life, opening up your abilities, connecting you more deeply to your own spirit, clearing out some things that might just be getting in the way of you creating what you want, really diving into this as a play space and experiencing what happens and what comes up. So it starts, when you click it, it's probably going to say that it starts on Tuesday, but it's actually starting the following Tuesday. And it is regularly $495, but if you do it now, it is $297. So you get $200 off. So this will actually be good through till Monday, I believe. So the offer will also be in the replay if you miss it here or you need to think about it. But I think, this is one of those things that if we really are wanting to create change in our life, it's a powerful space to be in. Not only are you working it on yourself, but you are in a group that we're all focused on the same thing. And there is that, there's that, I think it's in the Bible, wherever several come together, like that more is accomplished. It's a universal law. It's a law of bringing together focused energy to create and shift and change all together, individually but together. So there is a power in working in community in that way. And of course, we always have fun, and everything's a play space. So that is there. I'm going to pop back over to my okay. All right. I got it. I missed all of these. So Amanda said, I'm giggling inside because I didn't really want to come to the webinar. And of course, I'm totally happy that I did, which is like, right, right. That's just like the #1 rule of thumb when working with me. If you like feel like you don't want to be here, then you really need to be here. Michelle, thank you. That's very sweet. Thank you, Sarah. So the 40 days course is not free. That one is not free. That one, there is actually a fee for it. It's $297. The conversation that was up initially, that one is free. That one is, that one's my gift to you. So, okay, I think that is everything. Does anybody else have anything that you want to pop in here? I see anybody else have any questions, thoughts, comments, songs to sing? All right, so oh, I see what you're saying, Michelle. So you didn't grab the, okay, let me remove the 40 days for a second. I can only show one at a time, I guess. So here there's the conversation. That should be back for you. Let me know when you've got it, and then I'll put the 40 days. Yes, Hope says, thanks for reminding us to breathe. You know, it's not that we actually stop breathing, but we don't focus on it. And then it's almost like we hold our breath. And when we put our focus back on it, it shifts things. Sarah says, I highly recommend the 40 days class. I've done it twice, and it's incredibly powerful and very awesome. Thank you, Sarah. And Adrian says, it's good to hear me laugh. Thank you. So yeah, so Michelle, did you get signed up for the conversation? Because I want to pop the 40 days back up there. Okay, so let's do this. If you wanted the conversation or you wanted the 40 days and for some reason you can't see it on the screen or it's disappeared, send me an email. So you've got the link through the webinar, alert. Just send me an email and I'll send you the links to both or either one. Just tell me which one you need and I will get it to you. So thank you everyone for being here. It's been a lot of fun and I hope to see you in a conversation. I hope to see you at the 40 days class because it is, I would say, I'm going to say it myself, it is a really awesome class. It's a lot of fun and it does get things moving. And the great thing about it is that it gives you tools that you'll have for the rest of your life. So it isn't something that you do once and then that's it. I can't tell you how many students email me way after the fact and say, like, I was so stuck and all of a sudden I remembered that I had the 40 days tools and information and I just did another 40 days and everything moved and shifted for me. So it really, all the tools that I teach are an accumulation that you should have with you. You have in a tool basket, an energetic tool basket that stay with you for the rest of your life. So, you know, it's an investment in the moment, but it is an investment in your life for the rest of your days, because no matter what you're doing, you'll have these tools. So right now we're talking about 40 days and Okay, so Amanda loves the 40 days. Hope loves the 40 days. Yes. So if you do it, you're probably going to love it. Okay. All right. So everybody, thank you so much. I am going to sign off now. So I've been trying to do some Facebook Live. I've been doing a little bit of YouTube Live, which is funny if you want to watch it because I keep making mistakes. I had 2 images of myself and I had one little tiny image of myself. So my motto lately is done, not perfect. And I'm just doing things. So you can catch me on Facebook Live, catch me on YouTube. And then there's just more stuff coming up. So I'll send out emails with thoughts and tips and insights, and then also with more webinars and workshops and things that are happening. So I hope to see you again soon. And until then, remember that you can create whatever it is that you want in your life, to do it from a place of certainty and clarity and joyfulness, and definitely from a play space. So have a good night. Thank you.